Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just have been using this for a few days, and I know a few of you had asked for updates, and I wanted to give some updates because I'm all excited about it. So I'm just gonna go over some questions that I got, and just how the experience has been, and just even some little concerns if I've got any concerns at all, just so you guys are aware of it. I guess first off, the biggest thing is how comfortable it's been. It's been super comfortable. I've been really surprised. It took me a while to get used to it because there's so many adjustments. It's crazy. But a few of you guys were asking how to actually even put it on because a few of you guys had got it recently. So in the instructions they say put it up like this and then put it up on your head, right? And then you get it all lined up. You know how like if you go up or down, side to side, it gets blurry one way or another. And then you just bring it back, however, just tighten it up. And then I bring this and I just stick it on. Now you can go lower if you want, but I found if I went lower, it bugged me because this would like touch my ear sometimes. I know that's just dumb, but it's just one of those things that I'm a weirdo, like little things like that. But anyway, that's basically how it worked, but it took me forever, even doing this. Like it says do this to do that in the instructions, but even just getting used to this and getting this over and tightening it up and then putting it on, and then usually within a minute or so you tighten it up just a little more to get it snug, and then you can do the whole close one eye and make sure it's in focus, and then close the other eye and make sure it's in focus. It depends on how ridiculous you are with wanting it like in perfect focus, but you can get it there. And it's been awesome. I've been in a few sessions of at least an hour, like a lot of sessions for at least an hour, close to 2 hours. My son was in a session for a couple hours last night and he was like super comfortable. Once I get it set within those first like 5 minutes, I was like paying attention too. So you know when you pay attention to stuff, you're more like, oh, I think it feels funny here. Whereas if you're just playing, you don't notice as much. And I didn't notice stuff. Like it felt great. The only thing I would say, like normal VR, keep yourself cool, right? So I usually have fans going when I'm playing if it's kind of warm in here. I just jotted down a few questions that you guys had. Oh, another thing. This thing works really well with headphones, and I've been really surprised because I've had issues, like even with the PSVR, I got huge drivered head, like 50 millimeter drivers in my headphones. I guess I should grab them first. So like, if I throw it on with this, the nice thing is this right here, and now this will come into play later too. But anyway, throw it on, and I always have to loosen it and then bring it around. And then get it on here, tighten it a little bit. Then you can throw this on, and you let this go under, and then it kind of bends around it. Hopefully, I don't know if you can see that, but I've never seen it from the outside. But it bends around it, and then you just bring this over, and you don't even have to go that tight. And with this, I haven't even tightened it, and I feel great. But you can tighten it if you want, and then go back around. And these like help hold it up, and then this goes over top, and it's great. I mean, I guess the only concern would be if you are getting hot in here, but I usually have fans going, so it's not a concern for me. But it could be. If I didn't have fans going, there was one time when I didn't have a fan going because I was just lazy and threw it on, and it got hot. But that's just like the PSVR if you're trying to wear this and it's getting hot. See, I don't even have it tight enough to stay up, but I could easily do that. But with the headphones, I don't really have to, because usually those big headphones make it way less comfortable for like either of the VR headsets I've had. So anyway, thoughts about the headphones. I have not messed with the stock headphones. After I tried these, I was super comfortable and amazed, so super happy with it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going, try to go fast here, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go over some issues and then I'm gonna go over questions and then I'll be done. So a few of the issues I've found that are just concerns, it's nothing that are game breakers for me at all. Once in a while when I'm on here, I don't know if you heard that already, I'll like throw it on. There you go. There's a little bit of a creak. I don't know, that doesn't bother me, but it's just one of those things that somebody might notice. It might be the 3D printed. It also could be, I've got it so far up here because I've got the field of view like as big as it can get without seeing the square sides. Like if I push in a little bit, I'll see the square sides. So I've got it like tuned in, but it's right against the knob, if you know what I'm saying. So I don't know if that's helping cause the squeakiness, but just something I noticed. Another thing, was, the back knob. So, back knob has been great. I haven't had any issues with it. There have been plenty of times I've had to loosen it a little bit on my head because I'm like, after a while, I'll realize I put it on too tight. But if I try to tighten it like extra tight, sometimes, there we go. Sometimes if I really squeeze it down there, and then there we go. It'll just pop out a little bit, but it's still nice and snug. And if I do want it extra tight, I'll do that, and then I'll just throw this on here, and it just works so well. But I'm just giving you a heads up. If you try to over crank it, it will snap back like maybe a tooth or two. But the cool thing is nothing's breaking, but I just wanted people to be aware. I've never had an issue with it not being solid enough. Just figured you guys might want to know. One guy had an issue with this, and Alex is going to send him a new one of these. Alex also mentioned to one of the guys that it sounds like they're going to they're planning on not having 3D printing by the end of May. So none of it's going to be 3D printed, because somebody had like gotten a crack in there and they super glued it and it was fine, but he's still sending him a free piece. Anyway, just a heads up that apparently that can happen, but I've only seen one case of it, I think, on Reddit and stuff. But I haven't had any issues with it. Oh, does it fit on the case? This is one thing they brag about in their little papers. They're like, hey, look, this is another thing. Talk about the fit. This thing goes tiny, tiny, tiny. Look at that. Like, it's so small. So it will fit, like, it goes a lot smaller than the PSVR I measured the inside right here. You know what I'm saying? And it was like at least about an inch narrower. So it will fit. It's so easy to share with my kids now and stuff if they ever want to jump in for a minute. Or 2 hours like my son last night. But he's 12, don't worry. I'm not like putting my toddlers in it for like hours at a time. Anyway, just thought you might want to know that. What was I talking about though before I got on the thing? How does it fit in a case? So you could like shorten it down like crazy, and then you can twist it around however you want, which is kind of cool. I was surprised, right? Now you still got this, but I've heard some people talk about getting a PSVR case for it, which would be perfect. But anyway, it will get super small still, and you just bring this around it, however you want. But it will, so that's kind of cool. Will it wobble when moving side to side? That was another question I had. At first I thought it might, but the more I've gotten it secure and the more I've gotten used to it, like, I don't get a whole lot of wobbling. And I'll like let it like settle over time, and it gets more comfy the more I, like, in the first 5 minutes or so. But like, if I wobble, I'm shaking around and stuff, it's not bad. Like, there's a little wobble, right? But unless you're like playing like a dog simulator, you're getting out of a bathtub, shaking yourself off or something, I don't know. That's a dumb thing to say. Anyway, you're not gonna notice it. I've been jumping around with virtual desktop, with like Ancient Dungeon and stuff, like totally being a nerd, like jumping around just for fun, because I have open space now and no cords, and I haven't noticed at all it like shaking around or being like not secure on my head. So it's been great. It actually feels more secure to me than the original straps. But that might just be me. That might just be my head and the way it works with my head, but it's pretty awesome. Okay, I gotta keep cruising here. Do you get marks on your face when using it? The only marks I've gotten, my son, like, after 2 hours, he was in there for almost 2.5 hours last night. He had like no marks on his face when he got off. There may have been some red, but no, like, I don't even know if there was red, but just from some heat and some sweat, right, over time that he'd been in there for over 2 hours. If I ever get any marks, it's because this pushes into my head, and it pushes into that because I have it so close to my eyes, and I'll get a little mark from the top of this, but I've never gotten a mark from this. It's just amazing for me. I'm amazed how well it works. So yeah, if I get any marks, it's from my face silicone pad thing that I rigged up. How does Bolt Comfort compare to the stock Quest? This isn't a fair question for me because I did not like the stock Quest strap. They said on a scale of 1 to 20. So I would be like, the stock strap was a killer for me. So like 5 maybe. And on this, I'm at least a 15, if not higher. The longer I have it, the higher it goes for me. I'm sure you could mount a battery pack on here for sure. I've seen people mount battery packs on this, on something. I don't know, but you could if you wanted. But honestly, I've just got a cable that runs obviously out of here, runs down to my pocket, and I still feel completely wire free. The cable goes down, goes right into my pocket, and I've been jumping around with that, and it's been super fun. And I don't feel the need for a counterweight at all with this. Oh, somebody asked about running a link cable. If you wanted to run a link cable, I would just use zip ties. You could zip tie here, you could zip tie, well, you don't want to zip tie too far back behind here because it goes in and out there if you want. You could zip tie it anywhere along here. If you wanted to use this strap, you could still, zip tie it to the top of this, then bring it down on your head, and then you got it going directly up if you have like an overhead suspension setup, which is what I usually have, and it makes a huge difference for me. Laying down, is it comfy? I tried that, and it doesn't seem quite as thick as the PSVR as far as like the plastic on the back. I think the padding, like I said, it's a little more dense, like I said in my initial impressions. I wouldn't have a huge issue. Oh, here's another thing. If you want to lay down with it, this is really cool. That other headsets, I've never found one or thought of even being able to do this. So if you bring it like this, you can really bring this down here, and you can tighten it up if you wanted to, and then you can just it's way down here, so it's almost even with your head if you're laying your head back. I noticed that on the back of my chair, like right here. I can't see anything. Like if I'm laying my head on the back of here and I have that down here, just when I'm trying to chill and relax, it doesn't get in the way at all. So this comes in handier than I thought. At first, it seems a little unwieldy and you're like, what the heck, how do I get this to fit right? But it proves pretty useful in a lot of ways, which I'm surprised about and pretty happy about. Studio Form Creative Strap, somebody asked me about that. And I was like, well, it worked with the PSVR, it might work with this. So I threw it on and it was so much better than I thought it was gonna be. So if I wanted to be in like a Skyrim session for like just hours and hours and hours, and I had battery packs and everything, and I want to be totally wireless, which I really want to do that. I might throw this on. And again, just the whole fan thing, just like when you have any other headset on, heat drives me nuts when I'm in VR if I start getting extra sweaty and stuff. But this thing was really surprising. I just threw it on. This is gonna look ridiculous. Here we go. I'll just do it. Threw it on. Whoops. Like this. Come down. And then get it tightened up. And I came up like this. And then I came over. And dude, this thing, it feels pretty amazing. And that's the cool thing too. Like this, it's just so adjustable. It's more adjustable than I would have imagined a headset can be. But anyway, and it's even more sturdy like this. Like, it's crazy. So anyway, Studio Form head strap, amazing suggestion. Even though at first I was like, that's, you could do that, I guess, if you wanted. But then I tried it and I'm like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He just asked if it would work with it. It totally does. This thing has been an awesome strap. I think that's almost it. A few people have asked about shipping. I'll put that back on. A few people have asked about shipping, and honestly would just send him a polite email, just being like, hey, is there any way I could get my order number status checked, and just give him the order number. Like every time I would ask him about something, he responded pretty fast for me, but mine were just little blips. I tried to keep them short, to the point, super polite, and he was awesome about it, unlike this video. And it was great. He responded and he sent it to me he said this afternoon, but it could have been the time zone thing, so it was actually the next night after the night that I had emailed, you know what I mean. So anyway, he sent it out pretty quick, and I felt lucky. Of all the notes, that's all the notes I had put down. I'm still insanely happy with it. Like between this and having my headphones on that actually sound good, and if I have like a little I have a little amp to go to that and then to go to my headphones, and it sounds so great. I mean, the audio out in this is well, good enough for portable, right? But just to give it a little extra juice to pump to your headphones and stuff, and then to fill stuff, it's awesome. And being completely wireless with virtual desktop, playing PC games, and like being so comfortable, it's just insane. Like, I'm amazed at what they've done with the Quest, just through software. This is like the most updated and improved, I guess you'd call it, console I feel like there's ever been that's been improved through software, through updates. It's just insane what they've done with it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know. I'm all pumped about this. I'm excited, and I remember being worried at first, being like, oh, maybe I'm making it up to more than it really is. So I got up the next morning and I tried it again because I was having a hard time through the night, being like, oh, maybe it's not as good as I'm thinking. And I got in it and played like over an hour straight, first thing in the morning, and I was like, holy crap, this is so good. So anyway, for me, it's amazing. And again, I know people are gonna be like, what about the deluxe audio strap? The Frankenquest. I wish I'd been able to try it. No idea. It looks awesome. It looks like it hugs your head really nice. I've heard some people say it's just amazing. I've also heard some people say, like Anthony from VR365 talked about the other night, that it's comfy, but then you get in about an hour and it starts bugging him. But I've heard the same thing. Like, I've heard a couple initial impressions just on Reddit for this that people haven't loved. So I was really nervous when I was getting mine. So I've been super happy with it. Anyway, that's a lot of side stuff that I keep getting sidetracked on. So thanks a ton, you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm a nerd, and this is fun. Thanks. See ya.